Hey, my name is Mike, and in this video, I want to show you how to build your own merch brand. So whether you are an influencer or a physical gym or something like that, or maybe if you just want to start your own online business, those are all great opportunities to sell merch online. So in this video, we have 3 steps. I'm going to talk about how to make a design, how to work with a supplier to actually do the printing for you, and I'll explain why that's extremely beneficial in a second. And then the third one is going to be how to list this on an online store so you can actually sell this and scale this online. Now, before we get into the design, you might be wondering why you would want to work with a supplier like that. Why not just order a ton and have inventory? Well, there are a couple benefits to what's called print on demand. And the first one is that you are extremely flexible and extremely nimble by doing this. That means that you can change your design tomorrow and it costs you nothing to change this. You can test 10 different designs and it doesn't cost you any extra by having 10 different designs. You don't need to order a lot of all of them and then find out which one sells. This is extremely powerful for new businesses when you really need to focus on testing and finding out what designs are actually working. On the other hand, if you wanted to order a lot of inventory, you would not only need a place to store it, you would need your own fulfillment, so it would take a lot of time and resources to get all the packaging and send all of that out on time, and you'd be committed to one design at a time. So that's why print on demand has an enormous opportunity and is incredibly powerful for new businesses. Now, with that being said, the first step I want to do is create a design. And there are many different ways you could do that. Some people say you want to look at your niches and your interests, and that's all great. But what I really recommend doing is one strategy in particular. And this is looking at what works very well in one niche and kind of apply a similar concept to an adjacent niche. So maybe something works well in the hunting community. Maybe people who are into fishing would like that. Maybe some designs that work really well among pet owners would do really well among houseplant owners. Maybe some things that are very popular among gardeners would be very popular among beekeepers. So a good way to do this is to go on Etsy, and this is a great way to browse a lot of designs. These are almost all print on demand. So if you go and just look up t-shirt on Etsy, you'll see a bunch of them that kind of give you good ideas of what's working. So you can also see how many reviews and what the ratings are. So Bob Weir passed away. That's a very popular one right here. You can see this is probably more so focused on dog owners. Maybe you could do a similar thing with cats. That would be a great idea. Maybe like a mountain lion and then have like, a picture of a kind of generic popular cat right there. And you can try a lot of different ones there. That's all very popular. But let's say I have a gym, for example, or maybe a supplement company, and I want to sell some shirts related to that. So you can kind of pick out a couple designs that work well here. So it seems like the small font kind of typewriter style, as you can see here and down here and here on comfort colors, that seems to work very well. Whereas more the masculine oriented shirts, I would assume, are the ones that have like more of the, military style font on them. You can see this one and just like a basic word in the middle. But there are also some funny ones that seem to do well, like Sasquatch down there carrying a kettlebell and a barbell. You've got this one over here, and these can actually be generated very easily using ChatGPT or using Gemini. So let's roll with either one of these designs. And I like to design with one of 2 main tools. One would be generative AI if you're trying to make something like this or like that. And I've talked about that in previous videos on how to do that. But in essence, you want to just go in and start with the basic prompt. And now the tools have really gotten quite good where you're able to revise the images quite a bit. And when you're done, you're able to download that either as a transparent file, if you just ask it to make a transparent file, or if it's not working, sometimes it gets a little buggy and doesn't give you a good PNG, you can upload it to something called background remover. So free background. It's like remove.bg. There it is. That's a tool. You can just upload your file. It's free. It'll remove the background. And that's something I've done a good number of times in the past. So the other tool, if not using generative AI, the other tool is to use Canva. Now, Canva is just a basic editing tool where you're able to take little icons and text and move things around and kind of design things a little bit more hands-on than you would have with generative AI. And maybe you want a combination of the two. So if you were to make this, for example, maybe that little icon in the middle there would be created using generative AI. And maybe you want to use Canva to shape the text around it and choose exactly the font without having to ask ChatGPT to change it a million times. Now, I have a design that I made that I want to roll with. And let's just say I have like a nutrition company. So this one right here, I want to go with this design right here. It's going to show up weird because there's no background and Mac just makes it a gray background, but still I want to put this on a hoodie. I think this would look really good. A very basic design that also I think kind of has a cool look to it. I like the way this is set up. And now we get to step 2 in this video, which is choosing your supplier. Now the suppliers, I've tried a ton of them: Printful, Printify, Gelato. I've tried so many different ones. And the one that we like to work with is called Gelato. So I have a link in the description below. You can also type in santrelmedia.com/gelato, and that is a discount link that will give you 50% off your first order. We reached out to Gelato, we worked with them, and we got you guys this discount. I think it's very beneficial. You can actually order multiple things in that first order, and that could be a great way to have a sample order and see what designs actually look like in your hands. We're going to do that later on in this video, and we'll see what our design actually looks like as well. So if you say get offer, again, it doesn't cost you anything extra to go through that. It's a discount link. We can then create our account. So you can either sign up with Google, Apple, Facebook, or you could sign up with your email. I'm going to sign up with my email right now. You can then verify your email address. You should just have an email. Go to your inbox and you'll find that. And once you click on that link, it'll ask you a couple questions. It doesn't really matter what you answer for these. It's just going to kind of tailor your dashboard. So just choose whatever makes sense to you. Maybe I want to sell clothing, and right now it's a new store, so 0. And we could just say other. Actually, we could say social media, YouTube. And then I'm going to deselect this. I don't need exclusive offers, but you could select that. It's not a bad way. And I'll finish. And that brings us to the Gelato dashboard. Now, Gelato does have some paid plans. You don't need to get the paid plans though. You can use the free plan forever. You're able to run your full business like this. And the benefit of the paid plans doesn't even really show up until you start growing your brand a little bit and you start saving some money with those paid plans on the orders. So I think most beginners are fine with just the free plan, but I'll show you the paid plans a little bit later in the video. So if we go down to product catalog, no matter what you chose in that onboarding sequence, you'll have a lot of different options here. So you can still sell, wall art. You've got calendars, tote bags, cards, photo books, as well as apparel. So you've got men's clothing, women's clothing, kids and babies clothing. And if you go to the bottom, you can select brands. So if you're like, I really want comfort colors, you can go straight to that. So let's see, where is comfort colors? There it is. And you can just say, I want comfort colors. I think they have some t-shirts. Yeah, they've got the comfort colors heavyweight t-shirt. And I've ordered this a lot in the past for many different brands. Everyone likes comfort colors. It's just a good quality fabric. And it's nice that Gelato does work with that. There are also different techniques for printing. So you have DTG, direct to garment, and DTF, direct to film. This one's a new one. In previous videos, if you watched any of my print on demand videos from a year ago or longer, this didn't exist then. And that's actually what I want to do in this video, is go with DTF so you can see what that product actually looks like. So DTG works well on like cotton style fabrics. It's a little more breathable, a little bit lighter, whereas DTF, they're printing on a film and then heat pressing it onto the fabric. And it works with many different kinds of fabrics, a little bit more vibrant of the color. And I don't know, it's something that depending on what kind of fabric you're using, what your design looks like, it may even be worth it to order a sample of both and then see which one looks better. And again, benefit of getting that 50% off, you can order both and it's only the price of buying one. Now for this, I actually want to go with, I think, a hoodie. So if we go down to brands, I'm thinking like a post-workout kind of hoodie. This is a gym kind of brand, a nutrition brand. So let's go down brands, and we want to go with maybe a Champion hoodie. Nice quality fabric. I'm going to go with, of these, I think this one makes the most sense, the 051. And for this, I'm going to go with DTF for this video, just to see what it looks like so you can, experience it. And I'll show you later on in the video once we order our sample. I'll select black, I'll select a size, and it doesn't really matter. You can choose other sizes as well, but I can then add this to our store. Now, we don't have a store yet, so as we design this, step 2 and step 3 are going to kind of blend together a little bit. So I'll say add to store, and we need to connect to a Shopify. Now, before you click on this, we want to go in a new tab, and we worked with Shopify, got you guys a link for that as well. You can go to santrelmedia.com/Shopify. I also have that link in the description and in a pinned comment. And as you can see right here, you get 3 days for free and then 3 months for $1 per month. Again, the idea here is to be able to start your business for quite a few months, get off the ground, do a lot of experimentation with Gelato, different designs, and save some money here on Shopify as well. You can also sell these designs simultaneously on Etsy and other platforms. We like to start off with Shopify just because it gives you a little bit more control of your store. So I'm going to create a password, create this account. We can then enter payment details so the store doesn't get deleted in 3 days after the free trial expires. And we can choose a plan. For most beginners, I would say almost everybody watching this video, the basic plan is the one you want. Much like Gelato, the other plans don't really make sense until you start selling more. Once you get enough volume, there is a point, and I'll have a link in the description below, just a free little tool I made on Google Sheets to kind of figure out at what level, at how much revenue would you have to be making to actually save money by going with the grow plan. And you would save money. The point is right here, 2.9% versus 2.7% versus 2.5%. So if you grow your business, there will be a time when 0.2% is greater than the difference between $105 and $39 per month. So for beginners though, I'm gonna go with just basic for $1. I'm gonna select that. And now we can enter our business details. Save business address. And again, we have a little bit of an onboarding here, and this doesn't make a huge difference except changing your dashboard. So don't worry about your answers, just choose whatever makes the most sense to you. For what you plan to sell, we're gonna select print on demand, and we can choose our store name. I'm gonna say Local Gym Nutrition Co. That's the design I came up with, so might as well use that. And that brings us into the Shopify dashboard. Now, this may seem like we're really going down the rabbit hole here, but everything connects and it all makes it very easy in just a few more steps. So now that we have our dashboard here, you can see we're all set up. We didn't make our website yet. We'll do that a little bit later. We can go back to stores. We can go to Gelato right here. That should be in a separate tab. If not, you could just go to dashboard.gelato.com/stores/list, or just click on stores and that'll bring you here. Now we can click on Connect Shopify. It'll open a new tab. All we have to do is click install, and these two are going to be synced up. That is very, very powerful. Again, click install again right here. And now anytime we change a product on Gelato, it's gonna change it on our website on Shopify. And then anytime someone orders from our Shopify store, the orders automatically get sent to Gelato and you're able to do your fulfillment very easily like that. All right, now Gelato should prompt you to publish your first product. I'm gonna say publish your first product. We can click on that. There's other ways to do this. Let me just go back and show you the other way you can access this. If you go to stores, then you go to this store right here, you'll see add product on the right side, and we can add a single product. Now from here, remember I said I wanted to do that champion hoodie. So go down to brands, go to champion. I'm gonna go with this hoodie right here. And this is a great example of one that would do very well with DTF because it's a polyester unisex hoodie. So I'm going to skip that and we're going to choose the color. Let's go with black, and you can deselect the other colors. So if you only want one color, you can, or if you just want to see what your design looks like on other colors, you can select one at a time. And that's going to show, like if you have multiple selected, it's only going to show the first one you selected in the middle here. So if you're like, what does it look like in pink? Just deselect the yellow or the gold first, and then it'll show you what it looks like as pink right there. Now I'm gonna go with black. I just think one colorway is fine to get started. We're gonna do DTF here. We can choose the sizes. I'm fine with leaving all the sizes on there. I think that's just fine. And let's talk about the design tools we have available. On the left side, this is pretty much everything you'll be doing. We've got files here, so we can choose our file. I'm gonna upload a file from my device. Once it's done uploading, you can just click on plus, or you can click and drag it over if you'd prefer. I click on plus, it'll kind of size it in the middle, very centered. Now we can resize it. So I'm gonna go with approximately a full size here all the way across. You can see the box that we're supposed to stay within. So as long as your design stays there, you also see these little magenta lines pop up when you center everything. So maybe that's a pretty good design like that. Now it's also worth considering how high or low this is. Sometimes it's hard to figure out where that is. I usually just center everything, but sometimes once you order the sample, you realize maybe that's a little high or a little bit low depending on the fit of the actual product. On the left side, let's continue down the other tools we have available. So just in case you didn't want to design this in Canva or ChatGPT, you can also design it right here. So you can add text. There's a lot of different fonts you can use. You've got templates down here. You've got graphics. So if you wanted to add, so like maybe a barbell, see if we have a barbell there. Yeah, they've got like, not the barbell I was looking for, but they have a basic barbell you could add. They've got a lot of different icons and graphics you could add in. We also have layers. So if you have multiple things, you can rearrange them. So again, maybe you want text in front of the image or image in front of text, whatever it is. This is how you'd go about rearranging it. Layouts down here. I don't need to worry about this because I just have one item there. But if you wanted 2 columns or a little collage, there's just options over on the right side here. Personalize, you can set up personalization studio. So this is a great way that the end user can put in their wedding date or the name of their pet or the name of them. Well, maybe it's like for your grandparents or something. Like, not every grandparent has like their own name. So grandma versus Nana or whatever people have, you can add, and you can have the actual customer add that in, and it's custom. And that's, again, a benefit of print on demand. So I'm not going to talk about that too much in this video, but you can actually set that up either in the editor or in Shopify. So Shopify integration, very powerful there. And of course, you got images from Shutterstock, and you've got shapes as well if you want that. So tons of things on the left side. Across the top, you'll see we're able to kind of rotate images. You can add some effects. You can add some crop on them. And right here, it'll tell you if you have a good image. So if there's a little warning right here, usually yellow or red, it'll tell you if your pixel count is too low. It'll tell you right there, and you'll either need to upscale it or somehow just save it as a larger file on your device so that you don't have a kind of grainy image when you actually get this thing printed. So when we like this, we can continue to mockups. Conveniently, this one has some models that we could use, so we could select all of these, and that's fine. But we also have magic mockups, which is really, again, using generative AI here. So in the beginning, this is great for testing designs. In the end, I often find it's best to buy, like once you have your sample, take your own photos, and it's very powerful to sometimes just show that it's real. Like, people like seeing a real image, and I think people can still tell, not all AI images, but people can kind of spot the real authentic ones versus a lot of AI ones. So there is some advantage. Once you find a good image or a good product, take your own images, and it can definitely bring your brand to the next level. But for getting started and testing a lot of products and designs, Magic Mockups is a great way to kind of use this generative AI to get some better images than just the basic ones there. So to give us some suggestions here of what we might want, we could do a flat lay like this on a wooden table. Sure, that's fine. Let's see what it does, a flat lay on a gym floor. Not cozy though, I don't want that. I don't know, this is kind of a tough one. I'm not sure exactly how this would look, but I'm interested to see what it comes up with. And you can do 10 of these for free, and I recommend trying all 10. Maybe you want something wearing it. Maybe you want to see what it looks like just on the floor. All right, actually, that's not too bad. I'm going to add that mockup. I think that's okay. And let's create another one and say maybe like a jacked gym bro. I don't know, like exactly who you'd expect to wear this. All right, it was close. I don't know why I gave him jeans though, and not quite what I'm looking for. Let's go back and edit that one a little bit. All right, let's go with that. See if that's a little bit better. You need to be very specific, and even then, it's not always going to get it perfect, but let's see what we could do. All right, actually, that's not bad. I mean, you can tell it's AI generated a little bit just because I think that guy in the background's running on a bench. But nonetheless, I'm going to roll with this one. I think this is still better than nothing. And it's kind of nice to have some images associated with this product. So let's continue to details. We can then choose a title for this. We can add a description as well. And you can always come back and change all of this later. We've got some options down here. Do you want to include care instructions? Yes, I think that's a great part of the website. And we can have some settings for product type. Yes, everything here looks good. We can have display free shipping if you want to absorb the shipping cost. I'm going to not do free shipping right now. And let's continue to prices. And Gelato has some tools here where you can set prices for every individual size, or you could set just profit margin overall. So because this is a more expensive product, it's going to be hard to sell this one for $109. I'm going to set this one, let's say profit margin 2, or set profit 2. Maybe we want to make like, $10 each. Click update, and you can see what the prices are actually going to be now. Now, this is, of course, is going to depend on what kind of product you have, what kind of brand strength you have, and how much you're going to be able to sell it for, and of course, how much margin you're really looking for. Are you going to be running a lot of online ads, in which case you're going to need a higher profit margin to afford those ads? Or is it you are already an influencer, you're just trying to sell this stuff, you already have the distribution or the marketing aspect of it, and you just want your fans to have this. Maybe you're okay with a lower margin, but you still want some profit there just to afford like the Shopify costs and things like that, which aren't really that high, but still you want some profit there, or else it's not even really worth doing it at all. So let's say continue to review. We've got our prices here, and we can click on publish. And this will give us a couple little dots down here. I think some green circles we'll be seeing that, let's close out of that, that say it's connected to our store. Now they prompt us and say, do you want to place your order right now? Now you could do that and you can get your sample. I think that's a great idea, but I think it's a better idea to build out our store and then order through our own store. It's going to cost us a little bit extra, like whatever the credit card processing fee is, 2, 3, 4%, whatever that is. And the benefit though is that you're going to get the experience that a customer gets. You'll see what the emails look like when they actually place an order, and that can help you decide, does that look good? Is that a good workflow? You'll get to still get the 50% off because it is the first order, and you'll also see what the overall cart experience is like. So I'll say I'll do that later. We don't need to do that right now. There I said we'll see the little 3 dots. The green one says, they're all connected. That's good. We don't have any that are not connected or are ignored. So that's really positive. You can create more products and connect all of them, but now we're ready for step 3. Actually, step 3 for real now, and that is building out our online store. Fortunately, Shopify has gotten a lot easier. You can see on the right side, this little AI conversation guy. That's our sidekick right there. He's blinking at me. So that's actually making a big difference. It's going to make it a lot easier, but I still want to work based off of a template. So on Shopify, if we go down to online store, we can then choose a theme, which is basically a pre-built template. Right now we have Horizon, but I want to see some other ones. We could have a little AI generated one, and maybe that's good. That's fine. But I like going from the popular free themes down here. So if we go to visit theme store, there are, honestly, this number keeps going up. Unfortunately, the free ones has gone up, but not nearly as much as the paid ones. Over 1,000 paid themes. They're like $380 though. So I think although these are incredible themes, and maybe eventually you migrate to a paid theme, I find that beginners are just fine with a free theme. Don't worry about it. They're going to be good, and you can customize this to make it look however you want. Now for this, which is going to be a one product website, I think maybe Origin would be a good one there, but you can see any one of these could be a really great fit as well, depending on, what the overall feel of your website is going to be. Don't worry too much about the colors or the font because you can change that. In fact, you could change everything, but the idea here is to give us the best starting point possible. So I'm going to go with Origin. I'm going to try theme, and you'll notice although Origin was added, it is not our current theme. Our current theme is still Horizon, and the reason for that is because in Shopify, they give you this great ability to edit a new website and then just hot swap it in. So in the future, once your website's up and running, imagine you have a bunch of sales, people are visiting your website all the time, 6 to 8 months from now, and you want to redesign your website. You can do that with a new theme down here, and you can edit it down here, and then when it's fully ready to go, you can just swap it out and just publish that as the new theme, and then it'll be a hot swap without having an awkward half-built website. But because this is a new website that nobody's visiting yet, I'm going to just make this our theme, and I'm going to edit it up here. So we'll start off by removing the password. Once our password is removed, I can go down to Origin and click on Publish. We can publish this, and this will make it our primary theme up here. Now we can edit the theme. So if we click on Edit Theme, this is actually how you edit the website. The first thing you'll see is that the product section right here, you can see on the left side, featured product, is just showing like nothing, no real product. So let's start off by adding our product just so the website kind of looks a little bit better. And in order to do that, we can click on featured product on the left. We can then select a product on the top. And again, if you have a different theme, I'll explain how this whole editor works. You may not see this featured product at the top, but I want to show you how this works regardless. Let's select our product. We have one product, which, by the way, big success. That's great that it already synced up right here, and we have that Gelato product pushing over to Shopify. Everything's working correctly, and that's a good sign. So let's click on that, and it pulls everything over. It pulls the image over. We've got the name of it. We've got the price. We've got the sizes. We do need to enter a description. We can do that in a minute, and we have the ability for them to add it to cart or buy now or see more details about it. Now let's talk about how this editor actually works. I'm going to click on the back button there, and on the very left we have sections. Below that we have some theme settings to change the colors and the fonts, and below that app embeds. You really don't need to worry about that much. But as far as sections go, Shopify is giving us a hierarchy here, a tree of what our website looks like. So if I collapse all of these, each one is going to be a section, and as you hover over it, it'll highlight it in blue. So the first section, we've got our header and our little announcement bar up there. Those are up here. But as far as the bulk of our website, the first one they just call rich text. Below that, we've got our featured product, which you saw we just edited. And maybe I want to get rid of this section right here. When you hover over it, you can hide it. and you can say, all right, actually, I kind of do like that better. That looks a little better. We can then just delete it, hit the trash can, and now it is gone. For any other section, of course, you can click on it on the right side and it will bring you into the editor on the left. Or if I click on the sections button and go back, we can also just click on it through the hierarchy tree and edit several layers of that. And I think a good example is going to be the testimonials down here. So this is multi-column is what they would call it. So if I just click on multi-column, I can edit the overall color, the background, the heading of this if you want to. But if you want to edit the contents within it, let's go back. We click on the drop down next to multi-column and we can edit the individual columns. So each one, as you hover over it, shows you the column. So let's change what these say. I can click on them. We can choose the heading and the description. And again, the description, note that you're able to use some pretty basic editing tools here. You can make it bold. You can make it italic. You can even insert links. And the links could be to your product. They could be to, as you can see right here, policies, blog posts, collections, or maybe even just a YouTube channel. Whatever link you want, you can just paste the HTTP link in there if you're interested in that. Let's say I want to link to a product. I can click on product and we have our product right there. I can say insert, and now we have a link. As somebody hovers over that, that will work. So that's the gist of how the editor really works. If you want to add more things into your Shopify editor, when you hover over between two sections, that blue line, you'll see add section. You can click on that and we have a lot of sections you're able to add here. Some of them are image banners or slideshows. Some of them are going to be more product focused, like featured collections and featured products, as we already used a featured product. Other ones are going to be more so related to email and sign up forms, as you can see down here. And if you wanted to change anything on your website, you're able to use this little guy on the right side, which is really quite powerful in my opinion, and continuing to get more and more powerful. So you'll see before you type into something, you'll see it'll say column right there, and it's going to specifically be editing that section. So if I don't want to do that, instead, maybe I want to edit this featured product at the top, you can click on it and then you can ask it to do some different things here. So we could say, maybe please make the add to cart button white. We'll see if it's able to do that. So it looks like it made the wrong button white, but it's still showing us how it's able to do that. So you can ask for changes. I'll say, no, I want the other button white. And by the way, you're always able to undo things on the top right by clicking this little back button, this little undo button here. But while I'm up in this corner, I want to show you that you can also click on mobile view and you can see what your website looks like on a phone, as well as on different sizes. So maybe somebody's viewing it on a tablet or a wider screen or something like that. We can also hide this. So if we close the little helper guy there, he disappears, and we can always get our sidekick by clicking on that on the top. Sometimes it's helpful to see this wider aspect ratio to see, all right, somebody on a desktop is really going to see it like this, whereas when this is here, it starts to kind of push the image up a little bit, and that's not really an aspect ratio anybody's ever going to see unless they're using, for example, I don't know, maybe like a folding phone would have this, like that square aspect ratio. So let's get rid of the sidekick and see what the website would really look like. Also, make sure as frequently as possible you are clicking on save in the top right. If you lose internet or if your laptop dies or whatever, like you don't want to accidentally lose a bunch of your work by not remembering to save. Now, once you have most of your website looking good, again, a couple other things we can touch on, header, announcement bar, all of the editing is going to be quite similar. But once you're done, we can then exit back to the dashboard. And the idea here is to get a minimum viable product, just a basic website that gets the job done. I'm going to go to header here and show you that you're able to change, like if you want this to be transparent or a different color scheme. We haven't talked about color schemes. Right now we've got 5 here, and each section can have its own color scheme. So scheme 1 is used in the header and in the first block. This one down here you can tell is using a different scheme. So if I go to, what is this, the rich text block, you can see that's using scheme 3. How do you change those? Again, on the left side, if we go to theme settings, I mentioned that a little bit earlier in the video, we can go to colors, and you have 5 color schemes here, and you can click on any one of them and you're able to change maybe like background and text color. There's actually a ton of things you can change for these, or you can add another scheme as well. So if you wanted, something to match your logo, what I would recommend doing is go into a new tab, go to HTML color code identifier. This is a great tool. There's a lot of free ones out there. And so just click on any one of these. They're all going to work. And what you do is upload your logo, and then you can hover over it and click there and then copy the hex code. So pretend this is my logo. I can copy that hex code. And then back here, you're able to click on that and just paste your hex code right there. And that will make it, the new color if you want to do it. Now, I don't actually want to use this, but that's how that would work. That's a good tool to have available. We can also change, as you can see here, the logo. So we can upload our logo. I actually kind of liked it better when it didn't have a logo, but I mean, the logo does kind of look good at the top. So we can change the width of that. We can also add a favicon. This is going to be, I don't know if you can see the top, but see the little Shopify logo on my website right now on the browser? You want to change that to have your logo up there instead. So let's choose our logo. It's going to put it in there. Ideally, you'd have one that had maybe a white background or otherwise just wouldn't blend in. You don't want it to blend in like that, but nonetheless, that's how you can add that. There's a bunch of other settings here. I recommend checking out all of these. Make sure like the animations and stuff look good on your website. But now let's click on exit, and that brings us back to our dashboard. Now I have a tutorial that's well over an hour long that talks about how to make coupons and discount codes on Shopify, as well as gift cards and different things like that. But really all we want to do now, there's a couple key things. One is we want to set up payments. So if we go down to settings, we can then go to payments on the left side, and you can activate Shopify payments. When you click activate Shopify payments, it's going to walk you through a very simple little thing where it's going to say complete account setup. It's going to ask for, you're going to verify your ID. You're then going to, enter your business details, or if you're running this as a sole proprietor, you enter like your social security, your personal information there. And then you're able to accept a lot of different kinds of payments through Shopify payments. So pretty much every major credit card, Google Pay, Apple Pay, PayPal, and you're actually even able to accept Amazon Pay. But interestingly, you have to go into your Shopify payments settings and toggle that on. There's no other settings, you just have to toggle it on. And for some reason, it's off by default. Shopify also has a number of other things you can customize here. So customer accounts, if you're going to have a lot of things, single product store, I don't think that really matters all that much. Shipping and delivery is being managed by Gelato, so I'm not going to do too much there. Taxes and duties, obviously you want to charge that based on your region, so consult your tax or legal advisor for that. We can create policies, and Shopify does a great job of having policies kind of pre-written for us or templates that we can go with. So terms of service, for example, if you just click on this, you can insert the template, read through it, because of course this is your policy. So you want to say publish once you read through it, and you can do the same with all the other ones as well. And then the last thing I want to talk about in this video is getting a domain, which we haven't actually done yet. Normally I do this a lot earlier in the video, but we need a domain that's not going to be local-gym-new, that whole thing. That's not a good domain right there. So we can either connect an existing domain if you buy one from Namecheap or other websites like that, or you can buy a new domain. The easiest way is to buy a new one through Shopify, but let's start off by checking out what the prices are on both of them. And then while this is loading in a new tab, I'll go to Namecheap, and I'm not associated with Namecheap at all. I don't even have any kind of no affiliate links or anything, but just saying Namecheap's usually a good platform to check some cheaper prices. So local gym nutrition.com. Maybe I don't even need the co. Let's just say local gym nutrition. Search. It looks like it is available, and it's going to be about $11 or $12 per year. But when you add it to cart, a lot of times you're going to have to add on some other things like privacy. So if you're adding privacy, then it might be an extra couple dollars a month. But nonetheless, you're looking at probably around, between $12 and $15 per year, $12 or $15 per year. Domains are very cheap, $12 to $15 per year on Namecheap. And then on Shopify, it looks like $16 per year. And that's already going to come with your privacy and everything. So, use your judgment. If you want to save an extra $1 or $2 per year, or maybe $3 or $4 per year, go with Namecheap. Otherwise, it's a lot easier if you just get it directly through Shopify. We'll say buy, it'll automatically link up with this. Your credit card is only in one place here. So if you get a new credit card in 4 years when it expires, then you just have to update it in one place rather than here, and then also remember your password for Namecheap. So that's why I don't know. I usually just go directly through Shopify. 16 a year is really not too bad. So once you have all of that set up, you are then ready to go to your store. Actually, you can visit your store by going to online store and then actually just hover over this little eye. You'll see visit your online store. You can click on that. It'll open it in a new tab, and you're able to, so you can see this is the product right there. You can view full details. Shopify does a really good job of building all of this out and making it look really good, in my opinion. But if you wanted to, just from the home page, let's say add to cart, you can see what this experience looks like. Okay, that looks good. And we can also go to our cart and check out, or you could say buy it now. Another thing, you want to check out this experience. And this is, you might even recognize this. So many websites use Shopify that this is like the checkout, I swear, for so many things that I buy on the internet. So I didn't actually set up payments because I have so many Shopify payments accounts. I don't really want to set up another one here, but that'll show up with, a bunch of payment information. You can say pay now, you'll order your sample, and then you'll be able to actually, go through this whole process and see what it looks like when it shows up at your door. All right, so in those cooking shows when they're like, all right, we're gonna put this in the oven, and then as they do it, they take out the one that they had cooking the entire time during the show, and you don't have to wait for it to actually finish. Well, that's kind of what I did here. I actually ordered my sample a little while ago, and I've actually had it. So let me get it. So this is the hoodie, and I'll show you some B-roll close up of what it looks like. But you can see the detail actually looks pretty good on the logo and everything. We've got nice sharp lines everywhere. It's kind of sticking to the fabric really, really well. It looks super professional in my opinion. The color stands out a lot better, and you can see on camera, a lot better in person than it does on a screen. So again, kind of the benefit of having this to actually make your samples and take photos in person. But you can tell, especially with this fabric, the DTF is definitely different than DTG. And I think that probably was the right move right here. But again, I'll show you some closer B-roll. You can leave a comment and let me know what you think about this. It's also a pretty comfy hoodie, to be honest. I've always liked Champion stuff. So I hope this video was helpful for you. Look at all the static. Wow. I always like Champion hoodies. This is very comfortable. But hopefully this video was helpful for you to make your own merch brand, whether that is your own print-on-demand business you're launching, or if you are an influencer trying to sell merch, or maybe you have a physical store, a gym or something like that, and you want people to be able to order some merch on your website. Whatever the reason is, leave a comment down below and let me know how you're using print on demand. Thanks for watching. I'm Mike O'Brien with Santrel Media, and I'll see you in the next video, which, by the way, if you want, I have a full Shopify tutorial. It's like an hour and a half long, goes into every detail of design and everything like that. I'll link that video right here.